Okay, today we're going to be doing LeetCode problem 228, which is summary ranges. This problem states you are given a sorted unique integer array nums. Two things to note here: that it's sorted and that the array contains unique numbers. So we want to return the smallest sorted list of ranges that covers all the numbers in the array exactly. That is, each element of nums is covered by exactly one of the ranges, and that there is no integer x such that x is in one of the ranges but not in nums. What does that mean? So we have this input nums 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7. So 0 is next to 1, which is next to 2. So the first range is 0 to 2. 2 is not next to 4, so the next range is 4 and 5. And then finally 7. And if we want to hammer this home even more, you see here 0 is by itself, then 2 through 4, then 6 is by itself, then 8 and 9. So I thought I would try a new approach here where I'm going to give you the code completed instead of me typing it out, and then I'm just going to be in the debugger so we can just take care of it all at once. So the first thing we need to do is define a string list, and it needs to be array list because that's dynamic. We can keep adding to an array list, no problem. So we do that. You can see over on the left, we have an empty array. If num's length is 0, that just takes care of an empty array. This is not the case. So what we need to do is capture the first number, and so we're going to call that start and make it equal to num0, which in this case is 0. So now we just need to iterate through this array. So we're going to start with 1. I is going to be equal to 1 because we want to compare the previous number to the current number to see if they're right next to each other. We have to start with 1 because if we started with I equals 0, we'd have an index out of range when we try to take the number before 0, which there isn't one. Anyway, so the if statement we're concerned about here is if I equals num's length. So that means we need to take care of the last number because we're not going to end up comparing that to the previous number, potentially. Or, and this is the equation you kind of need to remember, the algorithm you should remember to determine if one number is right next to another number, the previous number. So we'll take nums I, so if it's not equal to nums I minus 1, so in this case I is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, so num0 is the value 0, and then you add 1 to that, so nums I, which is the value 1, is equal to nums0 plus 1. So we're just going to bypass that because they're next to each other. Same thing happens here because 2 is next to 1, or is 1 away from 1. 2 is 1 away from 1. All right, so now you can see on the left here I is equal to 3. Well, index 3 is the value 4, and 4 is not equal to the value at index 3. I'm sorry, 0, 1, 2, the index 2. So now we're going to fall into this. So if start, which is the value 0, is equal to nums of I is 3 minus 1 is 2. So nums2, 0, 1, 2, is the value 2. So it's not equal to, and this is the case that will take care of the last number. So we're going to fall into the else statement. So all we're going to do now is add this to the result, and we need to do the little design they wanted where you stick at the start number, which is 0, which we have. Then we draw the little arrow, and then we do nums of I, because remember the number we're working with currently is the number 4, so we want everything previous to that. So nums I is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2. So we're going to add the range from 0 to 2. And if you look here on the left, you see the result is 0 to 2. So now we need to change the value of start because we've taken care of 0 to 2. So as long as it's less than num's length, we can assign it to start, which we do. So now you can see over here, start is the value 4. So now we're working with the number 4. We'll go through this again, and I is now 4, so we're working with index 4, which is the value 5, and 5 is right next to 4. So we're going to go right back up to the for loop. So now we're working with I is 5, and because 7 is not next to 5, we're going to pop into this loop. And I is 5, 5 minus 1, so we're looking at index 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the number 5, and that is not equal to the start value. So we're popping the else statement again, so now we've got the 4 and the 5, so the start value is 4 with a little arrow, and then nums of index 5 minus 1, so nums index 4 is the number 5. So you see over here, we've got 0 to 2 and 4 to 5. And then we assign start to the value 7. So now we're at the last iteration, which is the 7. So now we can see I, which is 6, is actually equal to num's length, because the length of this array is 6. So we're going to step into this loop. Now start is actually equal to 6 minus 1. So index 5 is actually 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, is actually the number 7. So this is 7 is equal to 7 in this case. So we're going to go into the first loop, which is just going to add that value, the 7. And so you can see now the result is 0 to 2, 4 to 5, and 7. And then we're going to reassign start, which doesn't, or we're not going to reassign start because num's length is not less than I. I'm sorry, greater than I. So it doesn't matter anyway because we're at the end. And then we just return that. And that is the answer. So let's submit it. Pretty quick, beats 80% of all submissions. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.